Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. My name is Dayana Mayfield, and I'm the head of content here at Design Files. Today, we're going to be diving into how to get more clients from Instagram. I'm excited to introduce Amber Guyton, an Atlanta-based interior designer, content creator, influencer, product curator, and now a wallpaper designer via her latest collaboration with Mitchell Black. Amber has been featured in HGTV Magazine, Architectural Digest, House Beautiful, Forbes, and Ebony. And she's here to teach us how she used Instagram to land many of her best clients and her most awesome partnership opportunities. Welcome, Amber.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm grateful to be here. Spring is busy and on a roll already. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that I have the opportunity to share some time with you and the Design Files community.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here. I bet you're you're kickstarting a lot of projects right now, getting into gear.
Starting projects, projects in waiting for me to be available, but also everything with that comes with the spring, High Point,
Yeah.
different campaigns, some speaking engagements like this.
Nice.
So a lot to juggle, but I'm grateful.
Nice. I love that. Well, we are going to dive right into the content. Amber has prepared some absolutely gorgeous slides that are going to really inspire you guys to dive even more into Instagram, take a big bite out of it. So if you guys have any questions while Amber is going through the content, please drop them in the chat because of course we will have Q&A at the end. So feel free to just pop any questions as they come up.
And I know we have a limited time, so I will try to get through all my slides as quick as possible because I love to answer y'all's questions. So jot them down as we're going through. Okay, so I will present my screen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, looks great.
Okay.
We can see it.
Wonderful. So hello again, everyone. My name is Amber Guyton. I am an interior designer, a blogger, content creator, all the things that were shared previously. But more importantly, I am a person that wants people to feel joy where they live. And so that is how I got started. And I'm going to walk you all through a little of my story for those that may not be familiar with my brand or myself. But I'm, again, so grateful for the opportunity to talk about how to get more clients on Instagram, and just how to tackle this jungle called social media in general. It is a beast and it's getting more complicated by the day. It can be frustrating for many, but it is a key part of our business. And so I'd love to share my story. I will give a disclaimer that my path is not necessarily success for others, right? We all have different product offerings, different clients, different design styles, etc. So not to say to take this with a grain of salt, but I'm sharing my journey, and I hope that something from my path and my path forward inspires you, makes you think a little bit more about how you're presenting yourself on Instagram, how you're going after clients, how you are presenting yourself, so that this brings awareness into some more tools and some more strategies that can help you become more successful on Instagram. So without further ado, again, my name is Amber Guyton. I like to say that I colorfully design with your coins in mind. I'm originally from South Carolina. I'm currently based in Atlanta, Georgia. I've lived a little bit across the country in the past 15 years. I'm from South Carolina and then first moved to Atlanta, then moved to San Antonio, Texas, where I started Blessed Little Bungalow. Then I was still working in tech and moved to California and then moved back to Atlanta. So kind of like a boomerang. But during that time, I was working in advertising sales. I have 15 years of experience in product marketing and financial services. And I started Blessed Little Bungalow truly as a creative outlet. When I first purchased my home, which was a bungalow that was renovated in 1948, it's a 1948 bungalow that was renovated. I purchased it in 2015. I think I closed like the Monday after Christmas, and I decorated the entire house in a week. And I was encouraged by my family to quote unquote do this for real. And so I started a blog, and I called it Blessed Little Bungalow because of my faith, my love for small houses, and my love for bungalows. And I based it on my own home. So that's how I got started. It was truly a hobby turned side hustle. And after 5 years, I went full time as an entrepreneur and in interior designer. So sorry, my dog, of course, would do this. Okay, guest of the evening. This is Ralph, and Ralph has been with me the whole way. He's also 15 years old, so he has been my roommate through all of those moves. My apologies. So coming from humble beginnings and having a desire to help people love their homes and do so affordably, I always felt like interior design felt out of reach for a lot of people. And so my goal from the very beginning is like, how can we make your house feel like home and do so within your budget? So that is what prompted me to create Blessed Little Bungalow. That has been my goal and my mission from day one. And I think just being consistent with that message and presenting myself as, hey, I'm not quite a DIYer. I'm not quite a interior designer. I did not go to school for this, but this is my style. This is my home. And this is how I'm showing up in the world. And these are the things that come naturally to me, the things that my eye represents. And I hope that you can learn something from my experience. So my blog really started with just me going through each room that I decorated. And then eventually it turned into tips and tricks. And then people began reaching out to me about helping them with their own homes. So because of my moving, I did have a lot of clients that were in person, but I focus more so on e-design and more like e-design hybrid. I've never been or categorized myself as a full service interior designer because, well, one, working full time, I didn't have the availability to or capacity to be a full service interior designer, but also living in San Antonio, a lot of my clients and people that were interested in working with me were back home in South Carolina, we're in Charlotte, we're in Atlanta, had clients on the West Coast even before I moved out west. I've had clients from Brooklyn to Florida, you name it, across the country. And so e-design felt like a comfortable space for me to be able to offer my creativity and assistance to people without location limiting that. So fast forward, I create colorful cultural spaces to help everybody feel joy in the home and love where they live. And after 5 years of side hustling and working in tech, and I guess during the, what they call it, the Great Resignation, I decided during the pandemic, okay, I'm moving back to Atlanta because everybody can work remotely. And this is my opportunity to take that leap of faith fully into entrepreneurship. And so I will celebrate 8 years for Blessed Little Bungalow next month. Next week, really, also on April 4th. But I have been in the space full-time as a full-time entrepreneur for 3 years this summer. And so jumping from side hustler, hobbyist to full-time has definitely been a transition, but it's also allowed me more opportunities as my Instagram popularity grew to become an influencer, to have brand partnerships, to create more content online. My background is marketing, so a lot of things that people struggle with on social media, YouTube, Instagram, etc., it came more naturally to me because I went to school for that. Didn't go to school for interior design, but went to school for marketing. And so I built my brand using those skills and that experience that I already had. And so when I'm working with different brand partners or talking about product licensing, I use my MBA, I use my marketing skills in order for me to have that business mindset and like, okay, what story are we trying to tell? How many SKUs are we trying to move with this campaign? What kind of brand awareness do we want to have? And so that has helped me transition more into the brand partnerships, product licensing, content creation space. I still serve clients every day, but I'd say when I first started, 80% of my time, maybe 90% was spent directly working with clients. Now I'd say it's probably about 60, and the pendulum is beginning to swing. So it's been quite a ride and it's been exciting. A little bit about my design style. I like to say I'm mid-century modern glam meets soulful maximalism. I'm a maximalist. I love pattern. I love bold colors. I love dramatic artwork. Anything that represents my Black culture, or just things that are like statement pieces. Like I love brass. I love things that feel super intentional and timeless. And again, I love small spaces. And so I try to do my best to make a big impact in those small spaces, without things feeling too cramped or cluttered, and actually make people feel good and smile inside of their house. Again, as mentioned before, I've been featured in a lot of publications. It did not start out this way. It definitely happened over time. So brick by brick, article by article, what paint color is trending this spring, to now having client projects that are in magazines. So I was selected to be a part of the Real Simple Home this year. That's going to be in Crown Heights, Brooklyn. I have a house tour on Homeworthy. I also have previous house tours on my own YouTube. This HGTV cover, that's my guest room that happened May 2023 last year. So I've had a ton of success in having my face be brought to the masses in that way. But one thing that I think is clear is like the colorful, approachable design that I have, and my authenticity, I think is what is been a driver of my success. I never dreamed to be an Arch Digest. I never dreamed to be a celebrity designer, because I just don't like, I guess in my mind, it's like, I don't like high-end stuff. I don't want to walk in a living room that I can't sit in. So I've been very unapologetic about that. And, that's not necessarily for everyone, but if you are for everyone, then you're for no one, right? You want to be true to who you are. I'm not saying a lot of people like, oh, you have to really, really niche down, but you do need to know who your ideal client is. And we'll talk about that in a few slides. And then lastly, about myself, I talked about influencer partnerships. So I've partnered with all of these brands, whether it's painting in my own home or in my client spaces. I had an Amazon Live that went live earlier this year and have 2 more on the way. Have partnerships with different companies that have been amazing to work with, because a lot of these brands are brands that I use anyway. And so it makes the campaigns and the partnership so authentic and natural. And then I also had a wallpaper collaboration that launched in November. So a few months ago with Mitchell Black. So I had the opportunity to curate and design from scratch a collection that includes 6 different designs and 4 colorways of each. So if you go to mitchellblack.com, under the collaborations for designers, you'll see the Blessed Little Bungalow collection. I also have wall art that is selling at Home Goods and World Market, and occasionally Ross and TJ Maxx. So that's another thing that another licensing opportunity that I've been blessed with. Okay, enough about me. But although this slides is kind of about me too, but I know you're probably thinking like, okay, girl, well, that's all good and stuff, and I'm happy for you, but I don't have 127,000 followers. So how do I get that? Or how do I fight the algorithm to become relevant and seen? And I think the hardest part of looking for clients is trying to appease them with the right content and before and afters and use this trending audio and do this and that. There's so many moving pieces and it can be really discouraging. And I want you to know that I feel that discouragement. It's definitely something that is annoying. And sometimes you just got to close the app and put the phone down because you work so hard to build that reel or put those before and after pictures together. And then you get 17 likes and you're like, WTF, like what? Why do I even bother? But at the end of the day, you need to be present and you need to show up on the spaces where your clients could be. I will also say that your Instagram followers are not necessarily going to be your clients, just in the same way like people can support you in your business, like family members and friends, but never be your client, right? So you have to set an expectation for yourself that's realistic, that says, okay, just because these people are following me does not necessarily mean that this is going to convert to clientele. However, I have had so many clients that have said, oh yeah, I was introduced to you because through Instagram, or I followed you, or a friend told me to follow you, and I've been following you for 4 years, and I finally have my money together to remodel my basement, and I couldn't think of anyone else to work with because I love your work so much. And so know that it's not going to be immediate. And same thing with the followers. So this screenshot was taken in 2017, a year after I started Blessed Little Bungalow. As you can see, the pictures are not great. This middle picture here is actually a hotel I stayed in for work. I think I was in Frisco, Texas, or Plano, one or the other. And so a lot of it was like inspiration, my own house. This was one of the first projects that I did that is in this bottom middle. And then this is like an overhead shot I took in my home. So my design style, my photography has come a long way. So over time, the followers just continued and continued. And I will say, I believe I hit 100,000 followers in 2022 or like early 2023. It was definitely before I had this HGTV cover. But you know, there were times where I had like a viral moment or something and I gained a bunch of followers, but honestly, it was just organic, one person at a time, over time for 8 years. And I think a lot of people think that, oh, it has to be overnight. It has to be, I did this consistently for 30 days. Why hasn't it changed yet? But you have to be patient. And you also have to realize I don't want a bunch of bots following me either, right? I want people that are actually interested in my work. So I share this slide to just give you some realism that it's not overnight. I think sometimes, especially in recent times, people can have a viral video and go from 20,000 to 200,000 followers, but don't allow your following to give you validation. I know that's hard to say and kind of like, well, you're probably thinking, well, you got the followers, girl. How are you going to tell me that? But it really, you don't want to live by the applause. You just want to be who you are and show up every day. And when someone is searching for an interior designer, like, are you showing up in their feed? And are you presenting your best self when someone does randomly stumble across your profile, or the link to your website where your portfolio is that even on your Instagram page? Like, so just be mindful that you don't have to, what's the phrase? You stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So I want you to think about that with your Instagram profile. So I have a couple of tips here that I want to go over in regards to how to best present yourself on social and build your brand. Number one, as I kind of already shared, authenticity is your superpower. I am a country girl from South Carolina that was a professional marketer and just always had a knack and liked to decorate. I love to go to Home Goods. I still post about, from the beginning into now, I still post about my weekly Home Goods run and things that I saw that were cute in Target, or went to this thrift shop or this vintage bookstore to pull some things for something I'm styling, a shoot I'm styling for a client's project. So I take people behind the scenes with that in my feed, in my stories. I show who I actually am. And I talk about everything from, and this may not be comfortable for some of you, but I talk about my struggles too. I talk about, like, I froze my eggs, for example, very TMI, last year. And I share that on Instagram because I feel like that's something that was happening in my life and that I wanted to share with my audience. And so much of my audience, and even people that did not follow me, were so receptive and happy about me sharing something that is really taboo. My social, my mental health struggles I've talked about before. I've talked about just the burden that feels like entrepreneurship and how you're sold this dream before you quit your job and working for the man. And then you show up in entrepreneurship and you're like, wait a minute, I'm working 10 times as hard and maybe I'm not the best boss and I don't know if this was the right path. Like I'm very unapologetically a bit of an overshare in that, right? And so that is who I am. That may not be who you are. I think there's certain things that you could share. Like, say if you are, yes, you're having this successful interior design firm, but you also love to cook. And maybe on Wednesdays, you show like a plated meal that you created for your family. Like authentic moments like that make you human is what attracts you to people. And so I would definitely want you to keep that in mind as you're presenting, because there are so many pretty pictures on Instagram to like and people to follow, but people really want to see the face. They want to know who the human is behind that. And so I think being an authentic, your best authentic self is what's going to make an impact on your Instagram profile. Next, I would say, know your brand and your unique offer. So as I shared in the beginning, I am an e-designer. A lot of people don't like e-design. A lot of interior designers don't do e-design because they feel like it's like an endless thing. Sometimes the project may never even be completed. You may not get pictures from it. But for me, when I started, e-design was an easier path because of my availability, because I was working full time. And so I own that. And I know that there are people that even admire my work that may not be the best client fit because my unique offer in e-design or e-design hybrid may not be a good fit for them. Maybe they need to have someone hold their hand and pay for that full service interior designer. And that's okay. I'm fine with turning that client away. The other thing I'm fine with, as you can see in this picture, I love color. I like fuchsia and gold and jewel tones, and that is not for everyone. There is a lot of beige in the industry right now. There is a lot of just hospital vibes. And nothing against any of you that may be your aesthetic, but I own my aesthetic. I know who I am and what brings me joy. And I've had those clients before that I've gone neutral Nancy for, and it's been like pulling teeth for me. It's not something I enjoy. And I didn't quit my job to work for myself to do things I don't enjoy, especially if it could take 8 months and I don't want it to feel like work. I want to really enjoy the creative process. So I tried to weed those clients out. Like, okay, you came to me because you like my work, but you don't want any pops of color. Well, I don't think this is a good fit. Here are 3 other designers that may be better for you aesthetically. So when you know your brand, and you know your unique offer, you can shine better on your Instagram, and that's you're more likely to attract the right client when you take that approach. So kind of on that note, knowing your audience, knowing your ideal customer. So when I look at my Instagram insights, so if you have a creator or a business profile, maybe even a personal profile too, you can see your insights. And yeah, I think it's just their business and creator profiles, but you can see your insights. So you can see the ages, the sex, the demographics, the geographics of the people that follow you. I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia. My biggest population is in New York. Second biggest population is Atlanta. Third, I want to say, is Charlotte. But knowing where people are watching you from, they may not like you, but they may not like you. They may not like your posts every day, but they're following you and they're seeing you. So like knowing, okay, I'm a millennial, I'm 37 years old. That age range is the highest age range. I want to say it's like 49% of my followers are my age. So that's a lot of people that may be first-time home buyers, combining households, and growing a family. I have a lot of clients that are new construction, or with the housing market right now, buying older construction or staying in their home, single family, pre-owned home, and have needs to make it more livable or changing with their lifestyle. And so that's reflected in my insights for my following. So I know from that, like, okay, if I know my audience is likely to be not wanting to spend more than $6,000 on redoing their daughter's room, converting that crib and making a big girl room, then here are some examples that I can post that will probably be more successful amongst this audience. Same thing with ideal customer. I talked a little bit about how I've had celebrity clients. I've had people with bigger budgets, but that's not my ideal customer. Like, it is in some ways, but the everyday people, the middle class, upper middle class, 2,000, 3,000 max square foot home, that is my bread and butter. That's my cash cow. Those are the people that I vibe better with. If I were to go back and do a survey on all the clients I've worked with, my favorite clients have been that 30 to 45-year-old that's just starting their family, that is moving into a house for the first time together, trying to combine styles as new spouses. Like, those are the projects I enjoyed the most. Those were the projects that were most profitable. Those were the projects that felt the best for me. So knowing that is very important when you are operating on Instagram, because if I were just posting photos every day that doesn't reflect that, then my likes would likely be low. My engagement, my comments, they would reflect that, because it's like, well, who are you talking to? You know who you're talking to by looking at your insights, by knowing who your ideal customer is. And so act accordingly. Okay, so this is kind of straightforward, but if you're not doing before and afters, whether that's stills or videos on your Instagram, you're losing. People are lazy. They are not necessarily going to go to your blog and go to your website to see your portfolio. If you think of a sales funnel and the audience that is at the very top, like, you want to give them low-hanging fruit. You want to put fruit on the ground, really, for them to pick up and look at easily. You want to maybe entice them with some links to, okay, this is where this chandelier came from, or Hook them with a caption that says, that reflects that image well, that makes them want to read more, that makes them want to then go back to your profile and see more pictures. So as interior designers, like, we really are as good as our last project, sadly, as the work that we do. And so show your work. It surprises me so much when I hear people say, well, I don't want to post my before and after pictures or even my client work on Instagram because I feel like it's a disservice to the client, or I feel like that is not going to bring in people. When I go on consultations, or even when I receive a questionnaire, a completed questionnaire, and I ask like how you heard about me, or ask for inspirational images, they're pulling these before and after pictures. They're telling me, oh my God, I loved your project Black Renaissance, or I love Project Mood Forever and how you picked out that rust swivel chair in the living room. Like, these things are memorable. So make yourself memorable by the dramatic before and afters that you're presenting on social media. And then that tells a story too. Like this before and after, my clients were, the client was transitioning, getting out of a marriage, but wanted to make her little girl's upcoming birthday like a special one. And as you can see, she had the convertible crib, and thought about, okay, let's change that into into the toddler bed, or the queen, or the twin, or a full size bed that it converted to. But then thought, like, no, she loves pink. She's a girly girl. She wants a big girl room. And so how can we take these same colors and enhance them in a big way? And so you can see, like, this before and after picture is dramatic. And that's something that if someone else is thinking about doing their child's room, or gifting their niece with a bedroom makeover, this will draw their eye and bring them in. So if you can take pictures of the exact same angles of your spaces, I think some people forget to take like thorough before pictures and during pictures. They just invest in the after photos, whether that's you taking your own photography or investing in an interior photographer to take pictures. Like, having before and after pictures is so important. So make sure, if you don't do anything on Instagram, if you leave today and not remember a thing, and you don't have before and after pictures to show and tell on your Instagram, please change that today. Transformation Tuesday. If I do a before and after, I use that hashtag Transformation Tuesday, and I post a before and after. I try to at least 2 Tuesdays a month. So put it on your calendar, like, make sure you're doing that. Mood board Monday, Transformation Tuesday, Wallpaper Wednesday. Like, there is something that you can post, and I'm sure there's something in your portfolio or even in your own home that you can present that will draw those people in. Educate and empower. So going back to the conversation of every Instagram follower is not your client. People follow you for usually 3 reasons. Like, they like what you're doing, they want to watch and see, they want to feel inspired, they want to get ideas from you, like, oh, okay, this is why this lamp should only be this height on a nightstand next to a bed, or this is why you should not use this type of wallpaper in an everyday bathroom. Things that feel so simple to you, like curtain rod and curtain height, you would be surprised. People don't know, like, everyday curtains that they can buy are 7 foot, 8 foot, 9 foot, like this 84, 96, 108 numbers that come so easy to us, or even custom, or even having the ability to do custom curtains. A lot of the masses are not aware of that. So give easy tips on building gallery walls, picking artwork for a space. The more you're educating people and empowering them to design their own home and to make changes in their space, the more they trust you. And if they trust you, they're more likely to hire you. So how are you building trust with the information you're sharing, how you're educating your clients? your prospective clients and your followers on Instagram. I think, that is something that we should be more aware of when we are posting on social. So sometimes it could feel like, oh man, I don't know what to post today. I bet if you look in your portfolio or even like your camera roll in your phone and projects that you worked in the last month, there's some point of education that you could share. This is how big the space is. This is how long the sofa is. This is why you should select this rug. Like, people are on Pinterest every day, Googling every day the things that you have in your mind that you could share on Instagram so easily. So pull from that and educate your audience. Number 6 is invest in tools that help you stay consistent. Some tools that so look at this image, right? My interior photographer, Mark, is not cheap. And I did not start with interior photographers. I think when I first started, I was really just taking pictures on my own phone, but my professional photos of my home was like a portrait photographer, a lifestyle photographer that took my headshots. She also took the pictures of my house. And so when I first started, I didn't have the money to invest in photography, but over time I did. And I think that is also a big piece of press and publications. They want the professional shots. They want the photos with the lights off, with the great lighting. And so professional photography definitely assists with that. Other tools to invest in to help you stay consistent in your social media feed. I don't do content calendars, but I do live by my Google Calendar. So aside from something that might be a paid campaign that I'm doing with a brand like Home Depot or Sherwin-Williams, I kind of just post sporadically. I post based on my mood. I post based on the hashtag of the day, Sacred Sunday, or Flashback Friday, Throwback Thursday. Here's the first project that I designed that totally gives me ick. Here's how my design style has grown over time. So one tool that can help you with that is like, put on your Google Calendar what you want to post. If you're only posting twice a week, like, give yourself a reminder, a time block to say, okay, here's what I'm going to post, and then just schedule it and forget it. And then, well, not forget it, because you do want, once it does post, you want to engage with any comments you receive, because that's going to help visibility as well. But there are so many tools out there to make life easier in regards to posting on social media. Instagram has gotten so much better. It's still got a lot of kinks and things that could be better, but being able to schedule is a game changer, because there were external apps that people use to schedule their posts prior to. And so now being able to schedule on Instagram, if you want to boost a post, if you want to do a paid ad for 4 days, like, all of that is at your fingertips within the app. Some other tools that I use are other apps that I use. Canva. I'm in Canva right now showing you this presentation. If you're not in Canva, like, it's so user friendly to be able to make Instagram stories. There's endless templates that you can use. And so if you feel like, oh, I'm not a graphic designer, or you don't have someone in your team that can do that for you, or have the money to outsource it to someone else, play around in things like Canva. Some Instagram. So when I do my Instagram reels, I make most of my reels within Instagram. However, InShot is another app that I love to use. And you can add the music, the voiceover, chop up the videos and photos that you have within your camera roll. There's just a lot of tools outside of Instagram that can make things much easier. And if you batch content, like, say, for example, you want to start recording yourself giving a tip a week on how to make your house better, or your bathroom more organized, or switching things up in your living room, this accent wall, this gallery wall, whatever it may be, how to pick the right length pendant lights for your kitchen island. you can record maybe 6 of them in one afternoon and then just schedule one to go each week. And people, give people something to look forward to. If they know that you're going to post every Tuesday, here's your tip on Tuesday or whatever you want to call it. People are going to get excited about that, and they're going to be more likely to share. They're going to be more likely to engage. So there are a lot of tools out there to help you be consistent in that way. And then my last slide is all about your community. So I think a lot of people, and it's not necessarily a mistake, but it's a misconception people have, is that my community on social media is my following. No, it's not just your following. It's other designers. It's other people in the industry. It's other people in the space. So here are some pictures of some other interior designers that I have relationships with, that I follow, that I was kind of fangirling on before I even knew what I was doing. Are you following other people? Are you liking their posts? Are you commenting on them? Are you sharing their work? I feel like the community, the design community, and this industry is only as strong as the relationships we have with one another, whether that is, pricing and business models. Gatekeeping is such a pet peeve for me. Like, I am always happy to share information. Here's this app on my phone that I use to record floor plans or whatever. Like, I feel like that is one thing that has empowered me the most in staying in this industry when I felt burnt out, or I'm like, oh, this is a mistake, I don't want to be an interior designer anymore, is the community that I have and the opportunities that I've been given based on the people I know and how I'm supporting them and showing up for other people. So as you want to increase your following, remember that there are people above you, below you, on the side of you that you can support as well. And you would be surprised how many followers I have based on other interior designers that have tagged me in pictures or posted something that I'm celebrating. And I've gained clients from other designers more so than any show house that I participated in, any brand campaign, any YouTube video. So what I want to end with is, like, see your community as more than just your own personal following, and know that community over competition, there is enough for everyone. Rising tide lifts all boats. So don't feel like you have to, a comparison is truly the thief of joy. You can look at other interior designers and look at other people's following and immediately feel like, oh, well, why don't I have this? Or why didn't I not get that article? But we can only, nothing that is for you will ever miss you. And I truly believe my community and fellow designers, like, especially becoming a full-time entrepreneur and transitioning out, like, has helped me overcome imposter syndrome, has helped me stay focused and motivated in this crazy industry, especially during and post-pandemic. There's been a lot of times that I've wanted to quit. And I can definitely attribute a lot of my success to just wanting to be a beginner, like being a continuous learner and being okay with supporting others in the way that I hope others will support me. So that is where I'll end things. I know that this was pretty high level, but I definitely want to encourage you to ask questions. We have 15 minutes left. I'm happy to answer any super nitty gritty in the weeds questions you have about Instagram and how I grew my following or how I find success in it. But then also, if you're not comfortable, like, here's my socials, my email, like, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to be a resource.
Thank you so much, Amber. That was really, really amazing. I loved the focus on, for lack of a better term, kind of staying in your own lane, not getting FOMO, not getting stuck in comparison, and really, posting like your unique aesthetic, what matters to you, why you care about that specific, design point of view. So I think there's a lot of great takeaways there. So one of the questions that I want to dive into is, how do you balance posting inspiration photos versus your own work? So can you talk a bit about, do you do like content categories? How do you play with that?
So when I first started, when it was like side hustle era, I was posting a lot more inspiration things, like in mood boards, for example, like someone else's work might have been in a mood board, like as inspiration, or I'm reposting. But in this day and age of copyrights and ownership and honestly just not wanting to piss people off, because I have had people post my work and not tag me or tag my photographer. And my relationship with my photographer, Mark, is like he owns the copyright. And that might be the case for a lot of you. So people randomly can't just repost your work. And so I want to be mindful of that for others. So I definitely don't post as much inspirational things on my feed today.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say in my stories, if I'm inspired by something, if I think something's beautiful that another designer or account posted, I'm definitely sharing that in my stories, and I'm tagging them. I'm bigging up. I'm giving credit where it's due.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that is important, just to make sure from a legal standpoint, you don't want to be portrayed as someone who's sharing someone's work and perhaps claiming it as your own. That's a big no-no. Right. But if you have positive intent, good intention, and you're tagging people, you're letting people know, oh my God, I love this. Julia, who is based in Indianapolis, designed this for our family, or not even getting in that much in detail, but definitely tagging them and giving people the opportunity to see more. I think that is the best way to go about it.
Okay. I love that. Let's see. So how do you handle if somebody didn't tag your content and it's shared by others, and then another party claims their work as theirs? This is a big barrier for me to post more on Instagram. So this person is feeling blocked by that concern.
Man, so that sucks. I'm sorry if you've experienced that. I've definitely had people post my work and put a filter over it or not tag me. And it's not just other designers and people, it's brands. Like if I tagged Wayfair or Lulu in Georgia or CB2 or West Elm in something, because there is something there in my image that that includes their product, what they're supposed to do is add in the comments or DM you their terms and conditions, ask for permission to repost it. And then you can say no. The answer can easily be no, or it can be, oh, there's my dog again. Sorry, guys. The windows are open, so mailman, whoever.
I did.
So apologies there. But yeah, it's like people DM them and tell them, hey, I need you to take this down, or hey, thank you so much for your support. I saw that you included, oh my gosh, sorry.
There goes Ralph again. Okay, in the meantime, I'll take a look at some more questions coming up.
It's my grumpy old man.
Grumpy old dog.
And so just DM them and say, hey, I saw you post this. This is my work. I want to make sure that I am, credited for what I design. I don't think it should be hard for people to understand that. Right. And then if it's a brand, they definitely know that. They know that they can't just repost without your permission.
Right.
So when I go about it in a nice but firm way in DM, usually people are super apologetic. They understand and they take things down. I also include my photographer, for people that understand this, owns the copyright. And so I am contractually obligated to have this approved by my photographer if it's on whatever site. And it's like taking money out of his pocket as well as mine, especially if it's a brand, because they have to pay for those usage rights. Right. And so some people may not understand that. You can definitely share that in that DM that you send. But it's never gotten to a level with me where I have to take legal action or someone's been disrespectful about it. So I think, give people grace. But at the same time, like, just ripping off someone's work is not okay. And people need to know that.
Yeah, makes sense. So how many times do you post per week? And as a related question, because we did get a lot of people saying like it's hard to be consistent. So yeah, how do you handle consistency and frequency?
So I enjoy Instagram, or at least, this is something that comes naturally to me. And so there'd be times where I would post every day, or I would at least be posting in my stories like, okay, I'm out shopping for a client, or I'm unboxing this lamp or whatever, and I'm sharing it. Or even I'm sharing funny things or memes that I've seen that are design related. I feel like I definitely post at least on my stories every day. One thing that I have noticed is that some of my engagement, I mean, the algorithm, we can have a whole nother session talking about how it's annoying, but I have been posting probably less. So I would say at least 3 times a week. There are some people that say you must post every day, you must do 2 reels a week and things like that. Like the algorithm is constantly changing. So the minute you think that, oh, I've conquered this, I've beat the system, I know like this is whatever, like it's exhausting. So I would say you don't want to just post to post. You want to definitely be intentional and purposeful with what you post. So if that is 2 times a week for you, that's great. If that's 2 times a day for you and you're willing to do that, like know the times, the peak times, go back to those insights and see like when people are looking at your post. Like usually I post, if I'm going to post that day, I try to get it to go live or schedule it at 9 a.m. Eastern or 7 a.m. Eastern, like, because I know most of my, like, I want to be the first thing people see when they open their phone. They open the app in the morning, but also a lot of people scroll in the evening. So a post that I do at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. might get way more likes and engagement. So going back to knowing your audience, I think that will help you decide the tempo at which that and how many times you post each week, because you can post every day and get super low engagement, but then if you post once a week, like give people something to miss, like allow them to allow yourself to be flexible in figuring out what that is.
Yeah. Do you feel like Reels had a big impact on growing your following?
I definitely do. There was a time where Instagram was very focused on Reels, especially when it first launched, kind of to compete with TikTok. And like those viral moments I mentioned, like were simple time lapses that I just set the phone up, started the time lapse and started putting up the gallery wall. And those most basic, or just pano of a space, like 4 different panos with my phone, and put it together in a 20-second reel, put some music over it. Those have a lot of times been the best performing. But now I feel like carousels and static images, if they're impact, like, wow, that's gorgeous space. Like, I feel like that is definitely, it's not a lost art. I feel like people miss just the image Instagram, like, because you'll be watching these videos and they're going so fast and you can't even like capture it, or they're going too slow. Like, I'm not going to watch this 2-minute reel, like get to it already when get to the reveal. So so I think a healthy mix of both is definitely helpful with growth.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it sounds like also you kind of work your content creation into like while you're doing, client projects or something in your home. So it sounds like probably like the more that you do it, the probably easier it is, because you think, oh, this would make a great time lapse, or this would make a great just solid photo. Like, so you probably just are able to flow with it.
Yes. And definitely, if your camera roll is anything like mine, has like tens of thousands of photos, like just favorite them, put them in a folder, be like, oh yeah, I did go look in your Google Calendar and like, oh, I did do this project check-in and go to on this site visit this day, or go to this showroom to look at lighting this day. Like, let me go and pull those images and videos and make some content out of it.
Right. So another
everything is content.
Everything is content. Yeah. And that's a good tip too, right? Be taking photos, be taking short little video snippets like throughout your day, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you handle the balance between posting content to gain clients and posting content to gain brand collaborations? Do you think about the different audiences, or are you focused more on one and the other just kind of comes?
I think they're definitely all of that is secondary to like, who am I presenting?
Right.
How am I presenting my work and who I am? Like, what am I trying to say? I'm telling this story of this, or I'm doing this project reveal, and some designers do not tag brands because they feel like, well, that's what the client hired me for. I'm not going to give this information away, my resources. And I can respect that. But I will also say that there are so many brands that have worked with me because they've seen me using their product. Like, I am a Sherwin-Williams lover. And anytime I use a Sherwin-Williams color, I'm tagging them, and I'm probably telling you what color it is in my caption, because the first comment that I will receive if I don't is, oh my God, what color is that? Right. And I'm not going to ignore that comment. I want to tell them, I'm going to use Sherwin-Williams hashtag of SW color love, because they have a team of people that are looking at that hashtag every day and choosing what to repost and what followers to collaborate with. And so if they see me using their product, they're more likely to want to partner with me, or they're going to, like, little comments will turn into partnerships eventually. Like with anything, you're building a relationship with these people. Like, I think there can be, like, yes, it's business, but if they partner with you, they want your content representing their brand to do well. So they want to know that it's authentic. They want to know, like, oh no, she actually uses Sherwin-Williams and loves Sherwin-Williams. She actually goes to Home Depot or Lowe's. And so I think I'm conscious of, like, how I'm presenting myself to the brands that I'm tagging, but also know that, well, if Sherwin-Williams doesn't want to work with me, that they have 7 or at least a top 4 or 5 competitors that may want to work with me. So they're seeing me tag Sherwin-Williams, and Bayer is looking on the side like, she uses color very well. Maybe we should, like, okay, noted. And then 6 months later, I might receive an email from Bayer, or I said Bayer, or Valspar, or Claire, so don't just think of it as that one brand. Think of it as all their competition, their industry. Like, if I don't get one of my goals is to have a collection with Target, and I tag Target anytime I have stuff in my home, or I'm doing a shopping run or whatever with them. But who's to say if that'll ever happen? But Walmart is watching that, Wayfair is watching that. And so just being mindful, definitely. But I wouldn't say that I'm making moves just specifically, like, with my content to attract those brands. I think that a part of that needs to be organic.
Sounds a lot like this is coming from, like, a place of transparency too, where you're like, I'm going to share the secret sauce. I'm going to share how, I don't know what the phrase is, how the meatball is made or whatever, right? Like, it's like, this is what's happening, and that brand might reach out, a different brand might reach out. So that leads into a question that we got, which is, how do you educate and share, but not share too much that you're then giving them information so they don't need to hire you?
Well, before I heard the end of that question, the one thing I was thinking was, we don't own Instagram. Instagram can shut down. Like, we see everything going on with TikTok right now, although I don't think it's going to be banned. Like, it's a possibility. And so that following can be, like, poof, gone, right? So those 127,000 followers I have on Instagram, I only have like 1,400 people that are subscribed to my newsletter. I only have X amount of people that come to my website monthly or weekly. So know that you don't want to give too much on your Instagram because you want people to go to the platforms that you own. You want them to subscribe specifically to you. And then on a monetization level, there's only but so much you can get out of the Facebook and Instagram. Like maybe YouTube will be more profitable, maybe affiliate marketing, like to know and other things. You want to show something there. It used to be annoying to me to be like, oh my God, look at this sweater. It's so cute. Link in my bio. But people do that because one, that's how they make money. But two, like, I'm not going to just share with you right here so you can Google or whatever. Like, I want you to come to my platform to see it. So I think definitely not wanting to give too much away in that way. But on the client side, I don't see that as a barrier because people that can afford to hire you and want to, it doesn't matter what their skill set is. If they want to hire someone, if they want to outsource someone to design their home, they will.
Right.
And there are people that will learn or take information from you every day and you'll never hear from them. They will never hire you. There are followers you have right now that will never, ever hire you. They're following you for the sole purpose of inspo and loving your design style. And that's fine.
Right.
So I wouldn't allow that to be a deterrent or a distractor. I would say that, I can cut my own grass, but I don't.
Right.
I'm still, educated about sod and what's going to kill these weeds and pollen or whatever that's covering my front porch right now. So don't allow yourself to think that, if I educate people too much, then they will never hire me. Because most folks, they're not going to hire you anyway. They're not necessarily your ideal client. So don't let that stop you from sharing your knowledge.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have about a few more minutes to get to 2 more questions?
Yeah.
2 more minutes? Okay, cool. So in terms of like following other people, what is your kind of strategy for that? Like, do you follow people in the hopes of getting more followers, or maybe you used to do that, but now that you have kind of more visibility, you don't have to? What's your thoughts on that and how that's kind of changed for you?
I definitely don't follow people just to get them to follow me back or to get more followers. I don't think that is a good strategy, even if that was something that I desired. When I first opened my Instagram in 2016, my Instagram profile, the first thing I did after I decided what my business name was going to be, file for my LLC, get my domain, Squarespace, all that jazz, create a logo, was, okay, here's this Instagram profile. Let me go ahead and follow all the designers I like. So let me follow Nate Berkus and Emily Henderson and Justina Blakeney and DeVito. And I followed all the people that I was following anyway, because I love their work. And then I thought, okay, well, let me now follow all of the brands that I would love to work with. So Mitzi, Sherwin-Williams, West Elm, and even the trade only brands. Like if you're buying or considering buying from these brands, like why aren't you following them, right? Like you need to be following all of those accounts on Instagram. I don't follow my clients. I'd like to keep that separate. They comment on my stuff. They and I definitely engage with them, but I keep my following strictly to fellow interior designers, brands that I love, because I have a personal page too. So like I'm not following NPR on my on my Blessed Little Bungalow page, but yeah, I'm following brands because you're a consumer of Instagram too, right? Like you want your feed to reflect what you're interested in. There was a time when the only thing in our feeds was the people that we follow. Now there's a lot of suggested things and stuff, but I want to be inspired too. I want to be educated and
stuff. You in the platform, right? Which also keeps you active, which probably does affect, your visibility. Like Instagram wants to see like you're actually in the platform.
Yeah. So that's who I'm following. And And that is like if there's someone that's reaching out that might not even be an interior design, but it's like a fellow small business in Atlanta, Georgia, or a fellow creative or photographers. I follow a ton of interior photographers that I don't necessarily use, that aren't necessarily in Atlanta, but I get inspired from interior photographers as well. Yeah. So that's kind of who I follow and why I follow, because I want to see what they're doing.
Right. Yeah, I love that. That makes sense. So for our last question, I know that brands will sometimes reach out to you, but do you reach out to brands as well? And if so, how do you do that? How do you make that connection?
Yeah, so brands definitely reach out to me directly. If it's a good fit, if it meets my rate, that is something that I engage with. Or, I turn them down or say I don't have the capacity right now. Or your energy drink isn't really something I'm trying to promote on my page. But maybe like 2 years ago, I just created my own pitch list. Like similar to, I looked at it like when I first finished college or graduated with my MBA, was about to graduate. Who are the top 10 brands I want to work with? I want to work for Google. I want to work for Coca-Cola. I want to work for it. Like I put them on a list. So before I go to the job fair with 300 different tables set up and recruiters, here's my top 10 list. Here's my tunnel vision. And so I look at brands the same way. So I created a Google sheet and I said, here are all I looked at my client shopping list and I said, okay, here are the brands that I'm using. Here's the brands that I'm working with the most, that I actually buy their product. I'm a customer. They can look this up. They can see that I'm buying their product, that I have a sales rep at their company. And I list all of them. And then I list like 3 of their competitors. And I had like a pitch email that I created, and it was kind of a template, but I would personalize it to that brand. Or I'd say, hey, I'd link a reel or something that performed well, that included their product, or I unboxed this mattress or whatever it was. And similar to applying for jobs, you would get maybe 10 replies to 80 emails.
Right. Yeah.
But you have to be okay with that, right? Like they're like there's a lot of variables. Like people can not have a budget this quarter to invest in an influencer or a creator that they didn't know about before they received your email. Like you have to understand, like they get so many cold calls probably. Same thing with press, right? Like you reach out to someone that, works at AD, you're building a relationship, you're sharing who you are, but they've got 500 similar emails in their inbox that they're sifting through, but they only have these 4 stories that they need to focus on. And maybe what you're sharing in your portfolio doesn't align with any of those. So I would say definitely have your pitch list. You can definitely pitch different brands. There have been times where I've partnered with a brand that they didn't have the budget. They could send me a free product or something, and they were like, oh, well, you don't have to post it, but I post it anyway, or I make a reel instead of putting it in my stories. I go above and beyond to show that I'm interested in working with them. And then that can turn into a $10,000 campaign in 3 months when they have the budget, or they think that, oh yeah, she's the real deal. Like, let's invest in her. So that's
good. You got a lot of practical, you got a lot of like practical, get it done, make a good impression kind of advice, like that. Go above and beyond, put yourself out there, but also think about what the brands are getting out of it, So
this is a business. What are they getting out of it? Yeah. If it's just brand awareness, like, and even thinking of your own, going back to knowing your audience, like, if I promote this high-end brand on my page, it might get some likes, but how many clicks is it going to get? How many purchases are they going to receive? You don't want to set yourself up for the okie doke. And the main thing is like with brands, like you want long-term partnerships. You want Home Depot to come back each quarter and invest in you because they saw that you were able to move product or bring awareness towards whatever they have. And so just be mindful of that. Like you can't just be like, get. Like this is a two-way thing.
Yep. I love it. Very much focused on relationships. Well, with that, we will wrap it up. Amber, thank you so very much. You have given us a lot to take in, like a lot of inspiration in terms of the creativity, but then also kind of that kick in the pants of like, yeah, let's do the hard work, So yeah, we really appreciate your time. Everybody's saying thank you very much.
Y'all are so welcome. And again, my offer is still available. If you have specific questions and you want to email me or DM me, I'm happy to answer your questions. But thank y'all for giving me this platform and allowing me to share my story. And I hope that it was helpful and informative. And like you said, a kick in the pants. We got to do the work. We got to show up. Like that's half the challenge, is just showing up and doing so authentically. So thank you so much.
I love that. Thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And everybody, we will see you next month for another live workshop. Thank you.
Bye, guys.